Secret Service Director Julia Pierson was, as many outlets described, in the hot seat on Tuesday as lawmakers grilled her on lapses in the Secret Service's record in the wake of an intruder breaking into the White House earlier this month. Pierson testified before the House of Representatives Oversight Committee and clarified how far the intruder, identified as 42-year-old Omar J. Gonzalez, made it into the compound before being tackled by an agent.
The officer then engaged Mr. Gonzalez. They crossed the east entrance hall together, made the left turn down the cross hall. They stepped momentarily into the east room. Another officer rendered aid, and he was placed on the ground, on the carpet, and handcuffed on the cross hall just outside of the green room.
Perhaps more concerning, on Tuesday we learned from the Washington Post that agent was off duty and coincidentally in the house. And while that conflicts with some media reports,
past the stairs leading up to the first family residence and then ran into the east room before he was tackled.
It also gives way more details than the original Secret Service press release, which just says Gonzalez was physically apprehended after entering the White House north portico doors. Pierson's account doesn't necessarily conflict with the press release, but many have argued the press release played down the gravity of the breach, with some even calling the Secret Service's reaction misleading. But the hearing wasn't just about the Gonzalez incident.
On November 11th of 2011, shots were fired, the assailant left. Well, in fact, the Secret Service supervisor shut down the response of people who believed rightfully there had been shots fired.
That's referring to another report from the Washington Post from Saturday, which detailed how in 2011 it took the Secret Service 4 days to realize a man, Oscar Ortega Hernandez, fired a semi-automatic rifle at the White House. The Post, which has been doing extensive reporting on that and this latest breach, says at least one agent who said she thought she heard gunshots was told to stand down, and her concerns were later largely ignored. It's worth noting Pierson was the agency's chief of staff at the time and not director, but that didn't stop some lawmakers from questioning if the problem with the service isn't systemic.
This agency, if they'd rather be a whistleblower than to bring their concerns, if you're heading an agency where the folks are not providing you with the information to do the right thing, to make the changes, how do you even know what the problems are?
When that incident is compounded by the revelation that in 2012, 13 Secret Service agents hired prostitutes during a presidential visit to Colombia, during which time Pierson was also chief of staff, it's easy to see why the agency would be under such scrutiny. In fact, a writer for the New York Times argued the possibility of Pierson losing her job over the Gonzalez incident would be the subtext to the hearings, although President Obama has come out and supported her and the Secret Service after the fence-jumping incident. As for Gonzalez, he's in custody and reportedly faces unlawful entry charges, among others. For Newsy, I'm Sebastián Martinez.
Julia Pierson, head of the Secret Service, has resigned. This is just coming to us from the White House and from our White House correspondent, Jim Acosta, and that President Obama has accepted. So, Ronald Kessler, you and I breaking the news to the nation that she's out. Your reaction?
Thank God.
We have Jim Acosta. Forgive me. Are we going to Jim?
Hi, Brooke. That's right. If you can hear me, I do have the statement from Secretary Johnson about Julia Pierson. It says right there at the top today, Julia Pierson, the director of the U.S. Secret Service, offered her resignation, and I accepted it. I salute her 30 years of distinguished service to the Secret Service and the nation. But, Brooke, you could see that this was starting to develop all day long. Elijah Cummings, the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, really got the ball rolling earlier this morning when he said that if she could not restore confidence to that agency, that he would like to see her step aside. Then Nancy Pelosi, the House Minority Leader, said that she basically agreed with Elijah Cummings' assessment of the situation. In the last several minutes, I was talking to a key Democratic official who essentially said that her job was in jeopardy, and then this email came through. This all happened very quickly, obviously, because in part because of her testimony yesterday. I talked to a number of people up on Capitol Hill, aides to various congressmen up on Capitol Hill, and to people inside the administration who just felt that her testimony was not inspiring, it was not reassuring, and that was part of the reason for her departure, Brooke.
Well, earlier this morning, Boehner came out and made a comment and said, "I suggest you fire her," to Obama when speaking about this woman here, Julia Pierson. This is the U.S. Secret Service director. Well, was. She has now resigned because of all this controversy, the lapse in security. They kept back details from the public that we now know that this individual made it into the house. There was also people speaking about a contractor that had a felonious record or something that was armed in an elevator with Obama. But, I mean, the guy was a contractor and he was hired through them. So, I mean, I'm not sure where this is leading, but one thing's for sure. This lady was only on the job for 1 year, and all of these things have happened. Now, the most recent incident when I put out that bullets had hit the White House, that happened November 11th, I believe 2012. I do not believe that she was the director at that time. So, you know, she may have been put in that position because of that event. But nonetheless, their Secret Service security here is lacking. And I guess it's been tested and failed multiple times here. So nonetheless, this lady is stepping down. We'll see exactly who it is that steps up to fill her shoes, but White House spokesman John Ernst said that Obama had called Pierson to express his appreciation to her for her long years of service. He also said that new leadership was needed at the agency, and they look forward to doing that promptly. So that's the scoop on her. As I find out more who's going to fill this spot, I'll let you guys know. It's been Dabu 7. Peace.